Everyone, and welcome to the final presentation of the final day of this amazing conference. You made it. Give yourself a hand. Okay, so you are at organizations that enhance inclusion activities on your school site. And so you're going to hear from three amazing organizations. I'm from one of them, so I know it's amazing. We're going to start with Best Buddies, and then Circle of Friends, The Path to Inclusion, and then you're going to hear from Special Olympics. And we're all going to talk about our program, how we work with schools, and then we will stop at the end if you have any questions about what you've heard or how you can bring amazing programs like ours to your school sites. So, okay, so we're going to start with Zoe Watchman from Best Buddies.
All right, guys, bear with me. I'm not a good public speaker. So how many of you guys have heard of Best Buddies before? Awesome, okay. And how many of you believe in the mission of inclusion? I should see everybody's hands raised. Okay, great. I'm in a good space. Okay, so Best Buddies is the world's largest nonprofit organization dedicated to ending the social, physical, and economic isolation of over 200 million people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We are actually coming up on our 30th anniversary. This is our 30 years of working on this. So we have 4 pillars: our friendship pillar, our jobs pillar, our leadership development pillar, and our living pillar. We just launched our living pillar in January. So we are an international organization. So we are in 50 states, 54 countries, and across 6 continents. So this is a picture of our founder, Anthony Kennedy Shriver, with his aunt Rosemary. He founded Best Buddies in Georgetown. He noticed that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities were being socially isolated and excluded on his campus, and so he formed one-to-one friendships with someone with a disability, with someone without, and he created Best Buddies. This is our friendship program. Our friendship program promotes social inclusion through one-to-one friendships. So we are in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and colleges. The idea is that Best Buddies follows you throughout your entire time at school, so you always have a friend. We currently have 52 chapters across the Bay Area. This is our jobs program, also known as our integrated employment program. We help companies diversify their workspace by supplying competitive applicants with disabilities with job opportunities. So we place a participant in a job, and then we do on-site job coaching, and then we follow them throughout their career. So this is a pretty staggering number. 81% of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities don't have a job. Not because they can't work, but because people don't give them the opportunity. We are really working to decrease this number. So this is our leadership pillar. This is also known as our ambassador program. It gives people with and without intellectual disabilities a platform for self-advocacy through skill building, trainings, and speaking opportunities. We actually have a training coming up in November 23rd. It's going to be in San Jose. Yeah, pretty exciting. Yeah, we need volunteers. So this is our last pillar. It's our inclusive living opportunity. So right now we have 6 people living in a house based out of UCLA, and it's kind of growing still, but we're hoping to bring it to the Bay Area. So here are some ways you guys can get involved with us and bring it to your school, your families, your network, all those things. So this is our friendship walk. Our friendship walk started in 2009, and since then over 70,000 people have walked for the mission of inclusion. There's a lot of ways to get involved. One of the ways is to, be a corporate sponsor. So you can be a corporate sponsor for us, and in return we do some advertising for you. My favorite way to get involved is to start a team. So this is how you bring people into the mission. You reach out to your family, your friends, your network, and you create a team. If you raise $50, each person gets a t-shirt, which is pretty easy. On the day of, we need volunteers. So it's in Golden Gate Park. We need a lot of people to show up and help us out. And then 4th, you can be on our planning committee. So the Friendship Walk is in April every year, and we're starting our Friendship Walk committee. So if you want to be on something like that, let me know. Another annual fundraiser we have is our Champion of the Year. We nominate about 10 to 20 people in our community who really live out the mission of inclusion, and then they compete against each other in a 10-week program to be crowned the champion. So whoever raises the most money ends at our gala, which is November 8th, and they get crowned to be Champion of the Year. And this is the social club. This is what I do. It's for people who, with and without disabilities, to come and hang out. We do like happy hours, bowling, dinner. We just watched Hocus Pocus in the park. That was really fun. And we have one coming up December 7th. And then some other ways that you can get involved is to hire. To lower that 81% would be really awesome. So if you know somebody who's willing to hire, that would be really awesome. Plenty of people need jobs, and we're all hiring for the most part. Volunteering, there's so many ways to volunteer with us. You can be a part of our ambassador training, which I just talked about. We need speech coaches. We need people to come and help set up, things like that. And then also hosting a workshop. So you can host a resume building workshop, skill building workshop, things like that. Sorry, this is really up in my, and this is my information. So let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for your time. The ambassador training.
When is that?
November 23rd.
Oh, November 23rd, and the ambassador training is, where did we find the information on that? On your website?
Yeah, I can send you the flyer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, does anybody else have any other questions?
My question is, how do you get involved with different school districts? Like, how do you go about that? Or
Yeah, so we have somebody who is our mission expansion person, and they basically, usually people actually reach out to us. That's a pretty common thing, but we try and use our network. So if we're at like Branham High School and they have a high school close to them, we try and connect them. It's hard to find schools that don't want a Best Buddies chapter, but it's definitely, you need an advisor and you need people to be like a chapter president and stuff, so it's definitely work. Any more questions? Okay, I better see all of you at Friendship Walk.
Okay. Okay, so Casandra and I are here representing Circle of Friends, The Path to Inclusion. So our story is that in 1999, so this is our 20th anniversary as an organization, a speech-language pathologist named Barbara Paliles was working at Santa Monica High School, and she noticed that her clients weren't making the progress she thought they should be making in between one-on-one sessions. So she spent some time on campus, and she found that they all sat in one table with their STC group. They walked across campus by themselves, and the light bulb went on over her head. How can they practice if they're totally isolated from their peers? Around the same time, she was brought into an IEP meeting where a parent who was advocating for their ninth grade student said that she wanted Alec to have a behavioral goal to make a friend. So Barb came in and they worked it out, and so Circle of Friends began in 1999. We became a nonprofit in 2005. So my background, I have been involved over 20 years in residential treatment facilities and non-public schools. For 15 years, I've consulted on positive behavior supports, building resilience, and on positive behavior intervention systems. And I joined Circle of Friends in 2016, which was the final year of Barb's time there as the founder, and I'm proud to say that she has trusted me with carrying the organization forward as executive director. And my family, I've been married to my husband 32 years, that's Christopher, and our son Bennett and Ashlyn has given me two beautiful grandchildren, Amelia and Elliot.
So I'm Casandra Guerrero, and those of you who were at my last session, some of this will be a little review for you, but if you weren't there, then it won't be. So I've been an SLP in a comprehensive high school setting for over 10 years and a program specialist for about the past 3 years. I've been running my own Circle of Friends chapter for about 9 years. We're in our 10th year now. I piloted with about 30 students, and currently we have about usually 250 to 300 members. We are a single school district in a very large high school as well. And then I've been a program facilitator for about 8 or 9 years with Circle of Friends. So after I launched my chapter and it was doing really well, Barb asked me to come on and help train other districts. So I've worked in Santa Clara County and all over the Bay Area helping other districts with the program. And then I'm also a captain cadre member. Who here knows what captain is? Yay, 1, 2 people. So it's the California Autism Professional Training and Information Network, and it's basically a group of professionals who disseminate information about best practices in working with students with autism through trainings and classroom coaching and things. And everybody SELPA should have some cadre representatives. I think there's only one SELPA in the whole state that doesn't. So if you don't know of yours, then talk to your SELPA office. That's my family, my husband Roland and my daughters Layla and Maya, and in all my spare time I teach ballet at their dance studio. One of the other things that I was really interested in Circle of Friends was because around the time that I found it, I had been through lots of trainings through the Diagnostic Center, and one of the big things was that using evidence-based practices and generalizing in a natural setting is really important in terms of social skills development. And peer-mediated instruction and intervention is an evidence-based practice. And there's lots of resources on the Captain website about that.
Okay, and Cassandra's modest. She left off the bullet point that says she's a rock star. Okay, okay, so I know that these next 2 slides are basically singing to the choir or preaching to the choir, is that the term? But trends in general education. So we know that more students are coming to school with delays and challenges considered at risk is the general term. They're experiencing problems learning, including the hidden curriculum, which is the social interaction, due to poverty, trauma, or adverse childhood experiences. How many of you have heard of ACEs? Okay. And they end up missing school either due to acting out, so they get suspended, or they sort of check out and they become truant. In special education, more students are attending school with supports for their special needs and spending up to 80% of the day in the general ed classroom, which is awesome, and that should be the goal. We should get up even to 100% possibly. But it doesn't mean we were really ready for it. And it's been really exciting talking to and listening to gen ed teachers that are involved in co-teaching and really on board with this. More students are identified earlier, including invisible disabilities such as autism spectrum disorder. And as I mentioned, they're spending more of their time in the school day. So another thing that you all know is that inclusion is more than taking up the same physical space. So even if those students are now in gen ed classrooms up to 80% of the time, that doesn't mean that they feel like they are legitimate students connected to everyone else. And it doesn't mean that their gen ed peers know how to interact safely and respectfully with them. Lots of news. We're coming to the end of National Bullying Prevention Month. And empathy, and a lot about social emotional learning. Empathy is the antidote to the bullying that we're seeing. 1 out of every 5 students is currently reported being bullied at school as of 2016. That's reported, so that might be higher, the ones that don't even feel safe reporting. Students with disabilities are 2 to 3 times more likely to be the target of bullying. And more than half of bullying stops when a peer intervenes. So we need to focus on positive interactions and exposure and awareness with those peers. So how do we do that? Circle of Friends, The Path to Inclusion, we provide training and consultation for kindergarten through 12th grade teacher teams, which we then call advisors, to implement our school inclusion program. And these are wonderful pictures. It's kind of hard to see, but these are all of our wonderful advisors at their events. Since 2005, Circle of Friends has launched 146 chapters throughout California and impacted over 90,000 students. You think, how do we get to such a big number? Well, we start with our advisors at each school. They then pick their students with a disability and connect them with 2 to 3 peers. And each one of those circles has their own circles. They're in different classes, they're in different groups, and they include, which is how you get to those amazing numbers that San Benito High School sees and the effect on their culture. So our programs start up. We start at the district level, although we are now working with charter schools as well, so we recognize that there's a need. We contract for up to 5 sites, typically. We train 2 to 3 advisors per site, so a team model. Our program facilitators, and here's one, Cassandra's one of them, they provide 6 workshops over 3 years. Workshop 1 and 3 is all about implementation and establishing that safe space and raising awareness. Year 2 is all about really empowering the students to become leaders on campus, leaders for inclusion on campus, and change the school culture and reduce bullying. We also offer support for sustainability, chapter continuation, and we have a great trainer of trainers model for larger districts where we start with that cohort of 5 schools, and in year 2, we train someone within the district to keep it going and support advisors. So as I mentioned, those advisors, once trained, connect 2 to 3 neurotypical peers to students who are socially isolated due to disability or other challenges. Those challenges could be poverty, they could be trauma. We've had schools that started our program with students with disabilities, and they've included foster kids. They've included English language learners. It becomes a safer, kinder place to be who you are and be accepted. During weekly lunches, they commit to lunch 1 day a week for the entire school year, so it evolves. They also plan meaningful activities, and students find common interests and learn that they aren't that different. Friends of all abilities then develop social skills, leadership, and self-advocacy through inclusive events at school and in the community. So how does this make a difference? Teachers develop better relationship with their students and say that Circle of Friends reminds them why they got into teaching. Principals report a decrease in bullying and a campus that feels kinder. Neurotypical students learn compassion and say it's easier for them to step outside their comfort zones. Students with disabilities or other challenges are supported and motivated by their friends to engage socially and academically. And parents say that their child is excited to go about going to school and has friends often for the first time. And this is our elementary program, and then Cassandra's going to talk to you about the data and what it really looks like on campus as our advisor.
I like Circle of Friends because you can meet new people that you don't know and you can become friends. My name's Makeda, and about Circle of Friends, it's all about making new friends and helping out each other. Circle of Friends is fun because you meet new friends you don't really meet and might have actually not really liked him, and then they turn out actually to be like a really nice guy.
Circle of Friends at the elementary school level is a program of inclusion that provides students with special needs and their typical peers the opportunity to have lunch and play together. Genuine friendships bloom.
Having Circle of Friends at the elementary level is so critical to the students because it really is where they start learning about how everybody is the same and how we all have similarities, we all want the same things, and really erasing that line between disabled and non-disabled.
What we loved about Circle of Friends was that it had a very systematic approach. It had a format that we could start with and then look at how it would help our school.
Under the supervision of school advisors, students eat together in a classroom, each student with special needs sitting with 2 to 3 general education peers. They participate in activities that strengthen the understanding and acceptance of differences.
I love Circle of Friends because it includes other people who feel left out sometimes.
Our students who are in our special education population are almost rock stars now. Everybody knows who they are, and their circles are getting bigger.
Circle of Friends has really helped my students who are enrolled in speech to learn how to use their social skills in a unstructured environment as the playground and the lunchroom.
Since starting Circle of Friends, he's been communicating more and using more sign.
I've been working with Shay since she was in preschool, but ever since she joined the Circle of Friends, whenever she sees other friends in the Circle of Friends outside the classroom, she'll do high five and she'll say some conversation. Some girls invited her to their birthday parties. I'm so blessed to watch that outside the classroom.
Sometimes I feel the general education student might even get more out of the program than sometimes our students with special needs.
I have the opportunity to be able to see my students grow and change throughout the year. From the beginning of the year, that was just a couple of months ago, they have gone from being shy and timid to all of a sudden asking their friends with special needs to sit with them at lunch, to come and play handball.
The people with special needs are just like me and everybody else because they're super kind and they just want to have fun like we do.
Adam has a special relationship with Megan. They click, and he's smitten. She took it upon herself to learn sign language. I think the leadership skills for our kids is amazing. The kids that don't shine in my classroom necessarily shine in Circle of Friends.
So we have seen a decrease in bullying on our campus, and we feel that really has to do with our Circle of Friends in our upper grades, as students are getting to know each other, getting to understand differences.
Circle of Friends is fun because everyone's being nice to each other and everyone's playing together, everyone's sharing, and there's no bullying, and everyone's having fun, and you meet new friends.
Parents and staff and children on campus, we're all a part of this community of Circle of Friends.
It's beautiful. I've seen so many parents that just well up or completely tears are falling because their children have friends.
I thought I had enough friends, but when I joined girls groups in Circle of Friends, I met my new best friend, and I'm so glad I did.
We are in computer club of Circle of Friends, and the reason I like it is because
It feels like comfortable because it feels like home to me.
we are Circle of Friends. Don't forget the computer club. Circle of Friends rock!
I met my friend.
I was telling Robyn, we have a lot of videos. I have not seen that video yet. Uh-oh, it's starting again. Okay, so this is a little map of different chapters of Circle of Friends. So largely concentrated in California, and especially because it started out of Southern California, but there are chapters all over the United States in different little pockets. So peer modeling, peer-mediated instruction and intervention, or PMII, is an evidence-based practice that came out of the National Standards Project, which compiled over 700 research studies in evidence-based practices and distilled down what had enough evidence to support it. PMII, specifically in social, has evidence that supports it across all age ranges, up to 22, and then in communication for the earlier ages, and then in other little pockets like academics and joint attention and stuff in the earlier age ranges as well. There's research there. It also targets social emotional learning and the whole student engagement, and then school culture and climate, and can tie into RTI and MTSS supports as well. I get referrals all the time from our counselors and different people. So this is just a little bit of the National Standards Project. So there's two different reports that we refer to. One is the National Standards Project out of the National Autism Center. And peer training package, naturalistic teaching strategies, and modeling are all strategies that are incorporated into what we do in Circle of Friends. And then the NPDC, or National Professional Development Center, again, modeling, naturalistic intervention, PMII, prompting, and then some other supportive strategies that I would use in therapy, and then we would work with our peers to generalize in a natural setting, our social narrative, social skills trainings, and structured play groups. And then if you go onto the Captain website, there's this link to the Affirm modules, which are autism-focused intervention. I can't remember what the whole acronym stands for, but they're free modules that teach you how to use the evidence-based practice in a effective way, and also has a lot of resources like data sheets, parent handouts, implementation checklists, all kinds of great tools. And you can do it for a certificate track. So I'm going to show you a video of my student, Andrew, and this is now it's probably about 5 or 6 years ago, but this is one of his first years with us and one of his first years doing Circle of Friends. So I'm just going to play the video and we'll talk a little bit about it.
Do you like Circle of Friends?
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Because you get to interact with new people and make new friends.
What do you think, Andrew?
Yep.
Do you like your friends?
Yes.
Who are these girls?
Casandra, Amy.
Who are they? They're my...
Mine.
Are they your friends?
Yes.
Do you enjoy hanging out with them?
Yes.
Tell me something about them that you like. They are very... pretty. Okay. Anything else about Circle of Friends, guys?
Yes.
What? Our
group.
Your group?
Yes.
And your friends? And they're pretty and nice?
Very nice.
Awesome. Okay, so what did you notice about his communication there? Anybody have any observations? Lots of pointing, lots of scaffolded sentences, and that was kind of impromptu, so it's not, I didn't have like materials or anything or visuals for him, but he was struggling to find the words, right, to say what he wanted to say about his friends. Oops.
Do you like Circle of Friends?
Yes.
Okay, so this is about 4 years later, and that's Andrew, right? With the glasses on. Can you guys tell me about Circle of Friends?
I like the boys.
Yeah.
With Jacob, Dawson, Andrew, and me.
What do you guys do together?
Yes, I'm going to Miss Jones' class in new camps.
At new campus?
Go to new campus, go to Miss Jones' room, and hang out. Hi, Andrew.
Yeah.
Do you eat M&M's there?
Oh, there's no more M&M's.
No more. She got to get more M&M's along.
Yeah. What else can you tell me about your friends? What do you like about them?
We like the senior mountain.
Yeah, we like Senior Mountain. Senior Mountain.
Nice. I like it.
What day do we meet, Andrew?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yep. You can come in here and come in room, you boys.
Uh-huh.
Are those your boys?
Yes.
Can I get a fist bump? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, so what were the differences there? More expressive, more relaxed. Mm-hmm. And I like to think that's probably a combination of things, right? Hopefully good speech therapy, and all the other things that were built into his classroom. But he had about 4 years of multiple days a week of peer interaction through Circle of Friends at that point. And when I saw the two videos compared, I was like in shock myself because I see him every day, so I didn't remember the differences. And I showed it to his mom, and Miss Joan, who they were talking about, is this young man in the baseball tee, his mom. She's a special education teacher too. These boys went to football games together with him. They'd go to his birthday. The families became very close. So, and most of them have graduated at this point, and they still stay in touch. Can you? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so some other things that have come up. I found that the culture of our campus in general has become more inclusive. So after this Circle of Friends had been happening for several years, we're in our 10th year now, staff and students started coming to me with ideas, more inclusionary opportunities. And it wasn't just me driving it was everybody, and our whole campus culture was changing. So one of our staff came to me, she was really involved with FFA, and so she ropes and does competitions and stuff, and so she wanted to do a rodeo for our students, and she partnered with the FFA, and it's actually coming up next month. It's our 3rd or 4th annual now, the Baylor Buckaroo Rodeo, and the general education students put it on and integrate and help support and give our students opportunities to do roping, and they ride this little bucking bronco, and we bring community organizations like our fire department in. We always participate in the homecoming parade, and we have homecoming royalty as well. And we're probably one of the last small towns that still has homecoming parade that goes down our main street, and it shuts down and the whole thing. That was last week. And so our students really enjoy being able to wave at everybody. We always have people integrated on the float. And I had a student with autism last year. He was a freshman, and he was like, I'm so excited to participate in this float because my popularity is going to go off the charts. And he was just like so excited for the opportunity that he might not have had otherwise. So that was fun. This is just an example of the lunches. We do Friends of the Month, so that's what the certificates are. Just friend groups that are really connecting and just doing a great job of showing inclusion. And then we recently had inclusion night. So my president, Francesca, this year said, they do Pink Out and they do all these different awareness nights. We need an inclusion awareness night. So our athletic director supported her, and we went to the football team and asked them if they had any ideas. And to be honest, I didn't know that they would have any ideas, but they wanted somebody to be an honorary captain. They wanted somebody to be water boy. We had our gifted cheer perform. And it was a really, really fun night. So there's a little short. Okay. Looks like it. It's thinking over here.
At Salinas Valley Ford, our service department takes pride in having the highest quality standards in customer service, and that's...
In our project community, positive stories about people and places that bring us together. Tonight at San Benito High School, the school hosted their first ever Inclusion Night, designed to bring awareness to students with special needs and differing abilities. Action News reporter Christopher Salas has more of the program.
Dan, tonight was really special. It was a nice night. San Benito High School putting on this night for those students, and it was really a chance to integrate them and give them a part of that Friday Night Light experience on the field. Friday nights at the San Benito Sports Complex, you can expect to see a lot of red in the bleachers. But this Friday, many Hayballer fans were donning the purple and white.
Inclusion Night 2019 game.
Inclusion Night, bringing awareness to students of differing abilities and the importance of inclusion in all activities. The night also fundraised for the school's Circle of Friends Club.
This club, it's amazing to see since my freshman year how much it's grown.
Francesca Giannata is the president of the club. They look for opportunities to pair special needs students with general education students so they can build social skills and feel accepted. When Giannata proposed Inclusion Night this year, she said the whole school bought in.
We all can kind of connect through the kids because we all can find a common ground that we all love them all so much, and I feel like that really brings us all together.
Friday night's honorary captain, Warren Robertson, had a chance to do the coin toss.
Go to heads. Do you have a lot of fun out there?
Yes!
While Cooper Aiello was one of the water boys.
I was excited that we're going to dance at studio, have fun, and I enjoyed the game.
He's also a part of the gifted cheer team, who captivated the crowd with their halftime performance. For these students who usually enjoy the game from the bleachers, they now have a chance to experience Friday Night Lights on the field.
And seeing how impactful the club is to them and seeing how much of a great positive influence it has on all of their lives, it really betters not only me but our entire school.
Aside from the t-shirts and baked goods that were sold for the Circle of Friends Club, the 50-50 raffle was also going to the club, and they said they far exceeded their normal contributions for the raffle. Reporting in the studio, I'm Christopher Salas, KSBW.
Okay, so that was a little bit about Inclusion Night. So from current slides, so hopefully it goes back to where we were. The other thing that's authentically come up is one of our paraprofessionals started our gifted cheer team, and then a couple of years ago we had a student who wanted to start a soccer team. So she was very tenacious. She came to me with a 2-page written proposal, said I want to start a soccer team, and she had her soccer coach on board, and she contacted every single person on the Special Olympics website that she could find an email for, and she found Cameron. And so we've partnered with Special Olympics since then, and we've expanded our sports program. We had a game against a rival team in Salinas last year, which was really fun. And we have the stands are full of students because of the culture on our campus. Everybody just wants to come out and support and watch the games. I'm not going to read this whole quote, but this is a quote from Michelle Garcia Winner, supporting inclusionary opportunities like this. For those of you who don't know, she's the founder of Social Thinking, which is local. And this is our information, and that is a good segue for Cameron here. Any questions for me before he comes up? Or Robyn? There's some brochures that you can get on your way out to if you want to contact us.
Okay, so I do not know if it's a blessing or a curse to be the final speaker of your final conference, so just bear with me. We're going to keep it streamlined. The main point of me being here today is just to give you a quick synopsis of what we do, why we do it. It aligns perfectly with what these other great organizations are doing, and then a snapshot into what could be applicable for your own area, whether it's a school, district, county, and really just see the broad spectrum of opportunities available. So Special Olympics Unified Schools, a lot of people, I'm sure, know what Special Olympics is. So Special Olympics, we have two different pathways of programming. One is just the prototypical Special Olympics that everyone thinks about, which is in the news every 2 to 4 years with the big world games. It's primarily just individuals with special needs participating, so that's half of our program. The other 50% is why I'm here today. It's a program called our School Partnership Program. So we do programming from the preschool level all the way up to college level for students during the school day primarily, but it not only targets students in special education, but also their non-disabled peers. So that's the program that we're going to learn a little bit about today. So before I dive into it, I just wanted to tag on a lot to what Circle of Friends and Best Buddies was saying is why do we have these programs? So I know the whole state of California, the whole federal movement to just include mainstream, push in all these different things. We're really starting to see bit by bit just the elements of inclusion and acceptance really spread in its ripple effect across the campus. Not only the students who may be involved in an inclusion class or a PE push-in or inclusive club like these two, but also rippling out towards students who do not even participate in these programs but just have the visibility of it on their campus. And then from there, hopefully that's going home to parents, to neighborhoods. So as Best Buddy was saying, that's individuals with special needs struggle to get jobs. All these types of programming are creating awareness for them so that there's more community advocates for people of that nature within the world that they live in. So just a few photos of what inclusive campus could look like along the lines of athletics. So we do a lot besides athletics, but obviously sports is the catalyst for everything that we do. So we heard a lot of the great statistics from previous about why we have a need for any of this. For me, I'm not going to go over it because we've heard it already in this room. The one that stands out to me here is just the bottom one. It's just the exposure piece. So students in general education are just very uncomfortable even being around students with special needs. It's a huge chunk of these students who are not even able to have those conversations or willing to seek out those opportunities. So that's why we're trying to just expose to normalize those interactions and make it a little bit more normal on their campus. So we already went through all those statistics about dropout rates, being engaged in the classroom and whatnot. So we at Special Olympics, we're just trying to tag on to that and create more opportunities for these students to feel empowered, to feel connected on their campus, and really have a reason for their school world to be a focal point of how they are developing as a character. So what we do at Special Olympics in our school partnership programs, mainly we do sports, but we also have, as Best Buddies was saying with components, we have 3 different components. Sports is just one of the pieces. The other 2 pieces focus at a deeper level on student engagement, youth leadership opportunities, and tapping into the broader school arena. 1, to support a sports event, and 2, to have other activities through the school year that are promoting inclusion as well, just to keep the momentum strong and the leadership mission always going. So our flagship component at Special Olympics is unified sports. So as you could guess from the name, what we do is we attempt to build programs on a school campus where we involve students in gen ed and special ed to come together and play together. Obviously, this is a huge range of opportunities available depending on the students selected to participate in the program. To illustrate kind of the wide range of options we have at the highest level in our high schools, we've partnered with CIF, which California Scholastic Federation governs all high school athletics, and they have unified sports at the CIF level. So if you're at the state championship meet for track and field out in Fresno every year, which is the highest level athletics for a high school athlete to be, smack dab in the middle of that arena, there's a unified heat for a couple of different events. So super high level, where you might not even know who is the gen ed student, who's the special education student participating, to really rudimentary, where we're involving our severely handicapped, mod severe classes, and the role of the gen ed students is more to be a mentor and a coach. So what we do is we just go into your school, we go into your district, we consult to see who you guys are targeting, the best way to get gen ed peers, what program curriculum is most applicable to ensure that the competition level, that the sport level is relevant to the students being involved. Besides unified sports, our older model was something called traditional sports. That's just where we have students in special needs participating solely against each other. While it does exist, we are headstrong in pushing everything towards unified, but we do always understand that some classes are just more comfortable, at least at first, to participate in the traditional model. So at a lot of our competitions that you may go to, you may see there might be 3 soccer fields where it's a unified participation, and then there's an area for traditional games or traditional skill stations. So it's not to say that we're completely shutting that out. So what we do with sports is we do 3 sports seasons through the year: soccer, basketball, and track and field. A lot of schools usually will just do 1 or 2. It's really when they're at the prime level of just everyone's involved, the whole campus has accepted it, that they'll look to do all 3 sport opportunities. I mentioned preschool. So we have a program called Young Athlete Program, which targets students aged 2 to 7. While we're not super strict on that, we do have older elementary students. And it's a program where it's, instead of focusing on one sport, it is a combination of different skill activities to promote motor skill development, and also on the flip side, social skill interaction with non-disabled peers. So it's a great feeder program for all of our other stuff, and something I saw in the Circle of Friends videos is targeting students, especially from the gen ed side, at such an early age to build in for them to know that being an advocate for something is an integral part of life that is naturally just going to pay its price over into our society by building a generation of students who are just raised up on those groundworks. So that's why it's such an important time of life to implement programming for inclusion. So just to give a little bit more information on our sports piece, what we do in a nutshell, the structure of it is we'll pick a date to have a competition. So if we have a district partnership or a county partnership, there might be 10 schools traveling to one host site to have a competition during the school day. Prior to that date, all the schools that participate are enacting practices on their own time to prepare their students for that day of sport, and also to give these students a chance to interact and get to know each other prior to showing up. So that's the structure of it. It's usually about 6 to 8 weeks of practice, and there's that one competition date. Even if it's just one site having an event on their own with no other sites participating, we do still try to have them do practices. We purchase all the equipment. We have drill books, curriculum, everything built in. We train the staff to implement the programming. But it's really through the practices that you see those friendships evolve. So that's the sports piece, and feel free to just stop me at any point in time. I'm not going to dive crazy deep into details on any of this stuff, but sports is obviously the biggest attention getter. But we do a lot of other stuff wrapping around sports, just to make sure that the impact of a one-day competition is not lost throughout the rest of the school year. We really want to saturate the school year with a lot of different events and opportunities for students to be leaders. So that all falls into our whole school involvement umbrella. So whole school involvement, we go into schools and we consult mostly with student groups, except maybe at an elementary school or younger grades where we rely a little bit more on staff to assist in the planning. But we'll go into schools and we'll consult with them on what is your guys' campus culture here? What do you see? Do you see that the special education classrooms are trying to eat lunch outside with everybody but no one's eating with them? Do you see that there's no opportunity for these students to do athletics? Do you see that there's no assemblies in the year that promote awareness? Is there no student-led campaign to really promote diversity at large? And off of those ideas, we'll enact activity with those students to check off one of those boxes that they're trying to accomplish on their school. Some of the frequent things we do is we'll do a rally, a unified sports rally, which is great, especially priming into a competition that week. We'll bring in some of our athletes who have been trained in public speaking to come into classrooms and give a speech about who they are, their experiences in education, their opportunities in their work life, what they experience being bullied possibly, and do a panel question and answer. We partnered with the R-Word campaign nationally, so it's just, I'm sure some of you guys probably heard it. It's a movement to eliminate the word retard. So we have a big banner. We'll go into schools, and students will do a presentation. They'll show videos, and at the end, all the students sign the banner as their pledge. A lot of different activities, but the main thing is we have a couple cookie cutter ideas, but we more like to put in the hands of the students. So I'll just go in there with the students to leadership or whatever the class is, and really have them build out the idea and execute it, because as we know, stuff is more powerful when it's coming from their perspective than it is from us to just go in and try to preach to them. So we really try to empower the students to allow them to have that voice. And to one last thing on the whole school involvement, it all falls into our biggest mission of creating champion schools. So champion schools is a school that does unified sports, whole school involvement, and youth leadership. So the three pillars that we have, so we always keep schools engaged on that path. So we already went over young athlete program. It's a little bit more of a different pathway than our older grade level events. But here in the county, it's been great because we have a lot of elementary and middle school presence. So we are really heavy in our ground level programming, and that's getting to feed up into the high schools. So the results that we see every year after our programming, we do a very comprehensive survey. All of our staff, our teachers, liaisons, principals, they get it. It's a monster of a survey. I don't feel good for them having to fill out that many questions, but basically it's trying to get at what they see on their campus. So we see the following results. I want to just forward along to this one. The bottom two bullets is really just connecting back to my initial slide about how students don't even feel comfortable interacting with the student with special needs. So slowly through repeated exposure and a variety of outlets for that exposure to take place in athletics, clubs, whole school involvement activities, we're seeing these students be a lot more confident in how they approach the special needs population. So we have a bunch of partnerships. We do a lot of great work with Circle Friends and Best Buddies with their campuses because obviously our programs align really well. Federally, nationally, here at the state level, we have a partnership with the Santa Clara County to grow our programs the past couple of years, and like I mentioned with CIF. So we are pretty headstrong, especially here in the county. Are all you guys here from the county, Santa Clara County, or it's a little bit more widespread too? So our Bay Area presence, San Mateo County, up and down Monterey, and into Northern California through San Francisco, East Bay, and even to the rural parts of Northern California, we're really strong in our presence. All of our programming is free. We do a partnership scheme with whoever we're partnering. So to illuminate a little bit more on what that means, if we partner with the district, we actually provide funding to the district to offset the cost of participation in the program, because oftentimes there's transportation and other things involved. What we ask for on the flip side of that partnership is the district has a staff liaison that would coordinate with myself or another staff member to just ensure that the quality of the programming is consistent, especially when there's multiple sites within that district who's participating. So the process is really easy. If you are do any of you guys exist in areas that is already enacting Special Olympics in the school day? Okay, I know, thanks Casandra. So the process is really simple. You guys, if you are interested, I just advise to keep it super simple, keep it super small. I know as teachers, administrators, staff, you guys are all crazy strapped beyond your means to just do something on your own shoulders. So we create a collaboration between special education, gen ed, athletics, leadership activities, all these different cohorts in your campus climate to really make sure that the program is sustainable and beyond the shoulders of one staff, and further down just really dripping into the daily fibers of that school campus. So if you are interested, just reach out to us. We come into your site, just do a consultation, see what you guys want to do. And then from there, just start small and really let a couple years build out so that it's a program that's successful, sustainable, and is always really creating the change that we're attempting to create. So that's all I have for you guys today. Like I said, I don't want to go into crazy detail, but while I'm here, anyone have specific questions in regards to Special Olympics? Yes.
Volunteer opportunities, what does that look like?
For a student or just an adult?
For students.
Yes, so students, there's the two different pathways, as I mentioned at the beginning. So our community sports after school programming. So we have a lot of private schools that'll come where they don't actually have the special needs students. So we would get them involved in our community sports program, which is volunteering after school on their weekends. But relevant to this, we'll have students actually volunteer if there's a program on your site. So the student could either volunteer as a unified partner, meaning they are participating on the team. If they don't have the time commitment or if they're seeking another role, they could help to organize an activity. We also try to get students to come and watch the game. So we call it fans in the stands. So students volunteering their time at lunch or during the class day, 30 minutes to come and watch the game. They could volunteer to just be on the planning committee. There's a lot of different pathways to be involved. We have some sites, as I mentioned, with private schools or older schools will come and they'll transport their students to another school that might have a preschool event, and they'll be the leaders for that. So a lot of different pathways. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, well, I'll leave some cards here on the table, so just feel free to reach out if you guys are interested. Thank you.